In an extraordinary act of mercy, President Joe Biden has used his powers of clemency and pardon to change the lives of Americans for the better in the waning days of his administration. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the Legal AF YouTube channel, and I want to talk about what's just happened in the last few hours, and I think it's a harbinger for what's going to happen in the future, and that's a good thing about Joe Biden's proper use of his pardon and clemency powers. First, the headline. In a record-setting day, the Biden administration has just announced that it has granted clemency for nearly 1,500 Americans, meaning he has commuted their sentences, shortened their sentences, allowed them out of home confinement and jail because they have showed that they are rehabilitated and they are not threats to society and that they have paid their price to society and now can be reintegrated. That is the power of clemency, which only the President of the United States can do for federal crime. So in the single largest grant of clemency, these are people, according to the statement by the White House, who have shown successful rehabilitation and a strong commitment to make their communities safer. These are people who were primarily placed on home confinement during the COVID-19 pandemic and who have successfully reintegrated into their families and communities. I mean, they've been on home confinement. In addition, President Biden is pardoning 39 individuals who were convicted of nonviolent crimes. Many of these people were convicted of the crimes, and I put that in quotes, of being gay in the military or using marijuana. And they have now had their pardons granted to them. The difference between clemency, commutation of sentence, and pardons, if you get clemency and your sentence is commuted, it means it is shortened. The punishment is reduced to zero at this point and you're done, but the conviction stays on the books. Pardon, on the other hand, you are pardoned, meaning your conviction comes off the books, as does, of course, your sentence and your punishment. And that's a distinction in using this. Now, I think this is great. This is a categorical pardon to individuals convicted primarily of simple use and possession of marijuana, and to former LGBTQ plus service members convicted of private conduct because of their sexual orientation. And there are additional steps that Joe Biden's team is going to take. It's right here in the statement. The president will take additional steps to provide meaningful second chances and continue to review additional pardons and commutations. He also outlined in his statement the types of people that got this mercy grant today. A decorated military veteran and pilot who spent much of his time helping his fellow church members who are in poor health or unable to perform strenuous tasks. A nurse who had led emergency response for several natural disasters and who helped spearhead vaccination efforts during the COVID-19 pandemic. And an addiction counselor who volunteers his time to help young people find their purpose. This is a power that the president has to give a second chance. He recognizes in his statement, the president recognizes how the clemency power can advance equal justice under law and remedy harms caused by the practices of the past, including, frankly, the past practices of Joe Biden back in 1994 when he joined with the Clinton administration to strengthen the crime bill. And that led to a lot of these people and a lot of black and brown people being disproportionately put in jail for longer periods of time than their white counterparts. And he said that's a stain on his legacy that he's always tried to fix. Well, 1,500 commutations and 39 pardons is a big step towards fixing that problem. More are coming. I've said this before on Legal AF, and let me say it again. I'm demanding, and American people should too, more pardons, more preemptive pardons, more blanket pardons for those to protect them and insulate them from the retribution scheme of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has ran on a platform of retribution. He has picked people who will implement and execute on that plan, like Kash Patel for FBI and Pam Bondi for the Attorney General and Harmeet Dillon for Civil Rights Division. And he needs to protect the Americans who were just doing their job in following the evidence and the trail wherever it led them, even up to the highest peak of Donald Trump. So prosecutors need his protection. People like Michael Cohen need his protection. The Jan 6 committee and Liz Cheney and Adam Schiff need his protection. Attorneys general that have gone after Donald Trump for various things, like Letitia James in New York, needs his protection. Jack Smith and his team. The judges that were presiding over trials that resulted in convictions or presided over the indictments of Donald Trump all need protection. I mean, the list goes on. You think this 1,500 sentences that are being commuted are a large number? They will pale in comparison, by the way, by the pardons that Donald Trump is going to issue on his first day or first month with all of the Jan 6th people. I've said this before. You're going to see over 2,000 pardons by Donald Trump. It'll just be an Excel spreadsheet of pardons. All the Jan 6th defendants and insurrectionists, all the MAGA that supported Donald Trump, all the cabinet members that went to jail or should have gone to jail. By the time he's done with the Jan 6th MAGA Congress, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz and all these other people in his cabinet, were in his cabinet, going into his cabinet, it's going to be like 2,000. It's going to make these numbers pale in comparison. But Donald Trump should know that Joe Biden's not done. And I expect another huge batch. I don't know if it's going to be another 1,500, but I think it's going to be another couple thousand before the Biden administration is over on Jan 20 at 11:59 a.m. They should be working feverishly. This is being led by the White House counsel and the White House chief of staff for Joe Biden. And as I said in that statement I just read, they are going to continue on an hourly, daily, by minute basis to review petitions for clemency, pardon, and other things. And then you've got this blanket pardon where the people aren't necessarily asking for the pardon, but the president is providing this level of mercy and protection. I mean, there's no way you can ignore the threats by Donald Trump against Joe Biden's family, the Democrats, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, all the prosecutors, all the judges, and just go, well, it's probably idle threats. It's not going to be idle threats with Kash Patel at the head of the FBI, who wrote books about government gangsters with a list of 60 people that he thinks are enemies of the people. This is going to be the head of the FBI if we don't stop it. Pam Bondi, who chanted, lock her up about Hillary Clinton. You think these people are going to pivot and become the people's FBI director, the people's attorney general, are just going to be the weapons of Donald Trump to go after his enemies list now that he's back in power? This is what apparently other Americans wanted, I assume, but I don't. And Joe Biden's got to do everything in his power between now and the time that he leaves to put a ring fence and protect his policies the best he can, right? To obstruct, if you will, to trip up Donald Trump before he gets into office by use of the clemency power, the pardon power, and protect people from his worst abuse of power. I'm sure that we're going to see in our lifetime when Donald Trump gets back in. I follow it all here on the Midas Touch Network and on Legal AF, this YouTube channel. Take a minute and free subscribe. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok for Legal AF. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.